Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at NIO. Chinese EV maker NIO wants to sell electric cars in the US by 2025. Up-and-coming EV maker NIO aims to sell cars in the US by 2025. The company plans to import premium Chinese-made EVs to the US as it looks to expand its market. The CEO of NIO in the US, Ganesh Laya, revealed that the EV maker vision at the next China conference on Tuesday, according to Nikkei. Laya said, and I quote, "My goals and my commitment to this company is I want all of us to buy a NIO car from our personal paycheck one day." The company's US leader explained, "I hope that one day will be sooner, which means we need to help from everyone, government, policymakers, supply ecosystem, and infrastructure readiness." NIO wants to enter the US EV market by mid-decade as part of the 25-country regional expansion. This news came days after NIO delivered its first EL6 model in Europe. Despite selling a record 55,432 EVs in the third quarter, NIO has struggled with widening losses all year. So how is NIO looking to sell vehicles in the US by 2025 despite these struggles? In an internal memo reviewed by Bloomberg Friday, NIO CEO William Li announced that the company will cut about 10% of its workforce. Li apologized to those affected, saying this is a tough time but necessary decision against fierce competition. NIO, like many other automakers, have struggled with the ongoing EV price war. Especially in China, the EV maker slashed price in June by $4,200. This is to keep pace with other makers such as Tesla, such as Polestar, such as XPeng. Can't see the US going for a Chinese luxury brand or a luxury brand selling enough volume to survive without lower price models, where failing to meet the term of IRA becomes a biggie. It is always strange to hear these companies say, will the US, like to buy a product that's made in China? It's as if we've forgotten that everything is made in China. It's as if we've forgotten that one of the most luxurious brands, Apple, iPhones are made in China. Where did we instantly forget this? Luxury items are not often made in the country the brand is registered. Some of the most luxurious clothing brands, they make clothes cheap in other countries, mostly Asia. But they won't put that on the price tag. They won't put, proudly made in Bangladesh. Half the time they want to say proudly made in America, proudly made in the US, England, France, Spain, Germany, Belgium. But sometimes they can't, because making these items in those markets are incredibly expensive. So they're happy to go overseas in China, in the rest of Asia to make their products cheaply, but they don't want to be proud of where these products are made. Yet they feel obligated to question companies that are built in these regions that are making products from sometimes the same factory. They question if the quality is up to standard, as if you don't make your own products from the same factory or the same people. I think the hypocrisy is actually quite embarrassing. The push for EVs is actually very important for the global market. Electric vehicles do have very negative stigma as well. Don't get me wrong. They've got positive sides, they've got negative stigmas as well. And some of these negativities, they are warranted, they're necessary. Producing EV cars are very taxing on the environment. They create a lot of carbon emission initially. However, the longer you keep said car, the less emission effect it has on the planet. It is the opposite with a petrol or diesel car. With those cars, it's cheaper to build, easier to build in terms of emissions costs. But the longer you run the car, the longer the car stays on the road, the more taxing, the more damage it does to the environment. With electric cars, it does that at the start, and then as time goes on, electric cars have less of effect on the planet. So it's actually manufacturing where the huge amount of negative effects these cars are having on the planet, electric cars. So if we can better our manufacturing processes, electric cars could be good for the planet. But right now, they're still almost as bad as petrol cars. Almost as bad, dare I say. But it also depends where these electric cars are being produced. If these electric cars are being produced in Africa, China, well, USA, America, they're not affected in negative CO2 as much as Asia and Africa. The lithium that's being refined, the mining, of cobalt and nickel. The list goes on of these rare earths materials that are used in these vehicles. But my point is, why should we judge other countries when half the time we can't do without them? We need them desperately to help keeping our economy running. Without China being the global leader in manufacturing, where would the US be? Where would the European market be? They wouldn't be anywhere. Now, NIO's higher price could be an issue in the US market, too. Aggressive price cuts led by the market maker Tesla have forced other automakers, including Ford and Hyundai, to follow suit. NIO will face another disadvantage in the US with a $7,500 tax credit provided to EVs made in North America with domestic batteries. As Leia explained, NIO's models are too expensive to qualify anyway. So that's interesting. NIO needs to work on cheaper vehicles for the US market, but I believe long term, NIO needs a manufacturing plant either in Mexico or the USA. I think Canada would probably be a little bit too expensive, but who knows? It could provide a lot of jobs in Canada as well if they create a factory over there. But I think Mexico is most likely the ideal candidate. So Ganesh Leyer also said, and I quote, "You don't want to drop the price just for the sake of dropping the price." So as the IRA is written today, from a strict price standpoint, our vehicles will not qualify for IRA, period. Other foreign automakers like Hyundai are already building EV capacities in the US. Hyundai is building a 7.6 billion EV plant in Georgia, drawing on a flock of suppliers. Georgia has attracted over 25 billion in EV investment, creating up to 29,000 jobs if NIO were to build a factory in the US or Mexico. It would be hugely beneficial to the brand, and I think if they want to build a factory, they must start now. Because 2025 is just around the corner. It's just a couple of years away. Less than 2 years away, in fact. But listen, this is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.